Welcome to another edition of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. Hey, this show was created from one of the more than 300 motivational quotes that I had created for the contents of my books. With over 40 years of studying human behavior, I was always curious. I sat down with my brother D, Dr. Breakthrough, my sister and brother from another mother, Christopher and Gilda, and the voice of our show, you. Christopher, Otis Spencer, I'm gonna tell you, that is the voice on the other side of the pillow. Wake me up this morning. And we were just curious, were these quotes just words that just laid there on a page, or were there a conversation to be had? We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. One of us brings a quote or a conversation that's important to us, and we throw it out based on our interpretation and perspectives. This is how the show came. So, without further ado, we're going to start. I've been on vacation for a week, and this is a conversation I'm going to share with you. So today's quote is, if I don't mind, Otis, will you deliver a quote or the conversation that we're having today?
Happy Sunday, Grand Rising, everyone. If someone shadowed you for one day, 1 week, would your actions scream commitment? Would they expose your fake ambition disguised as procrastination?
All right, all right. Well, when you've got 6 nights, 5 days, or however long I was there, I was actually gone for 8 days. I'm not doing the math. Your mind wanders. I said this earlier. I got a chance to see six sunsets and five sunrises. And I have a little brother, Javon. He's an event planner. He sent me a photograph of him receiving a gift from the Philadelphia Eagles. I live in the city of champions. Well, hopefully, when we win the World Series, that he had his name on an NFL Super Bowl ball that was presented to him by the Philadelphia Eagles. And brother works hard for a young man. He just turned 40. And I said, if someone shadowed you for one day, for 1 week, would your actions scream your commitment, or would it expose you for your fake ambitions disguised as procrastination? I put that in a verse of a song that I've shared with a couple of you guys, and I'll share this with the group afterwards. So when I start to break it down, it's like, we all have these people that are in our lives for whatever reason. They talk about what they're doing, what they're going to do. And sometimes you can revisit them from years later, and they're still talking about the same thing to get nothing done. It's the same way that every day I show up in the gym, and I say this often, is that pick 12 people out of the gym. I would say 11 out of 12 this time next year will be in the same position they're sitting right now. When they spend 20 minutes on their phone, 20, dropping the weights all pumped up and whatever, and nothing ever changes. We're always wanna, and we're always going to do something, but never get anything done. But there's a handful of us, like Dr. Stan, like Christopher, serving the military, like Gilda, the voice on our show, like Dee, that are getting things done. And sometimes watching what you guys do is exhausting. And sometimes listening to what you guys are planning is entertaining, but I'm motivated. If you hear what I hear every single day when people say, I want to be just like you, and I said, no, don't be just like me. Don't be a copy of something you already knew. Be something original. Just be you. There was something that someone said to me once is that, you know, they wake up every single day waiting for someone to come and save them. And they said, no one's ever coming. And I said, you know something? I said, God set you up. He says, there's always someone there to save you. Go look in the mirror, and that's you. And I wrote a song that included that verse. So now that you guys know how the quote landed on me and where it originated from, I want to know how it landed on you. And I'll start with my brother, Christopher James. He has something deep earlier to say about, our commitment to the Constitution, being a military person, whatever. He laid that on. I wish I had recorded it, but I'm curious to know how this quote or this conversation, this question I presented, how's it land on you, Brother Christopher?
Hey, thank you, Kevin. It's great being here. Oh man, where else can I be around people like the six of you guys. I mean, it's amazing. We used to struggle in early, social events like in school, where you want to be with the in crowd, be with the tough guys, be with the folks that were just the coolest. Every Sunday, I get to spend, my morning with the coolest, the absolute coolest on the beach. But anyway, this particular quote, and I'll tell Kevin, it's more like a question, and it sort of makes you think back to what are you really doing? What are your actions all about? Kevin and I, before we started, talking about a few things, but to stick to the actual question, it causes you to reflect on what you're doing, on what your commitments are. And I was explaining to Kevin that I had seen an article on J.K. Simmons, the actor. What was most shocking is he's my age. He's about 70 years old, but the dude is totally ripped. I mean, besides his farmers commercials, those movies he's in, he's always ripped. I mean, like he was Santa Claus in Red One. I mean, ripped to the max. So I'm saying, okay, I'm going back to the gym. I'm gonna look like J.K. Simmons. And I go to the gym with the idea of muscle development, where you basically work until the muscles have exhausted. You cannot lift that next weight. The problem is you don't go to the gym to do that. I mean, like the last thing you want to do is have somebody see you try to lift a weight and you can't lift it. Okay, folks are thinking, "Oh, look at this guy. He's a wannabe. He's a loser." But that is the secret to muscle development. You have to tell your muscles that this particular job is too big for them, so the muscles come back bigger. That's muscle development. Well, I wasn't following that. I didn't want to look like the wimpy guy in the gym. I was, what's the line? Faking the last words of the quote today. I was faking. Okay, I was procrastinating. I was acting like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I wasn't. Okay, that's the way that particular quote landed on me. I recognized that I was not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm procrastinating. I'm lying to myself. I'm not pursuing my actual goals. So, what does that mean? Does that mean that personal embarrassment of seeming to be a failure or an inability to lift the weights or to be the big buff guy in the gym? Was that my problem, or was it simply my non-commitment, my non-total pursuit to what I wanted? And it kind of boiled down to where I was just faking myself. I was lying to myself. I was telling myself, yeah, this is good enough. This is good enough, when it wasn't. I was more afraid with what people would think when they looked at me than what I was actually doing to myself or for myself in the pursuit of a particular goal. So that particular quote or that question caused me to reflect on myself. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or am I more concerned about what other folks are thinking? Bottom line, am I lying to myself, or am I being true to my commitment? And I had to say to myself, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I'm lying to myself. I'm not going to ever achieve the goal that I really want. And the bottom line is, if I'm concerned about what you think I'm doing or what I look like when I'm doing, how does that reflect on me? I mean, what are my goals? What is important to me? Your opinion of me or my opinion of me? So it sort of ended at that. I had to readjust my my goals and check out that procrastination and decide that I'm going to do what I need to do to develop or to get to the spot that I want to be at. That's it.
All right, all right. And like I said, based on interpretation and perspective, even hello is a quote. Even though good morning is a statement, it's a quote and depends on interpretation and perspective. All of us know that there's another interpretation to good morning that the rest of the world doesn't understand. even with the interpretation of our Constitution. I mean, we talked about that and what the oath is exactly supposed to mean based on interpretation and perspectives of other people. Some of the things that are existing wouldn't happen. Um, and believe it or not, one of the things is we've all heard this: surround yourself with like-minded people. And I am so blessed to surround myself with people that hold me accountable, keep me excited about what I do. Because when I look at each and every last one of you, there's no fake ambition amongst any of you. And so, this is one of the things that excited me about this quote. And I know that this is going to be uh, totally exciting to hear what D'Angelo has on this interpretation of this quote. It's like, who do I pick? Dr. Breakthrough, D'Angelo, whatever. Both of them are going to have a drop the mic moment. So, D'Angelo, if someone were to shadow you for one day, one week, would your actions scream your commitment, or would it expose fake ambition disguised as procrastination? How does that quote or statement land on you? Go ahead, we're waiting on you, DD.
Well, good morning to everyone. Well, good morning, everyone. And as Dr. Breakthrough would say, I hope it's an intentional good morning. I have a tendency of when I hear a quote or statement, I always allow it to run through my epistemological lenses. And that is, I travel through the various expressions of myself as a man, as a father, as a Black man, et cetera, et cetera. And so just like any other statement or question or quote, this one ran through my epistemological lenses. And so I had to re-correct or re-erect or restructure the statement. And I asked myself, I said, if my week was written, would it blaze with boldness or would it blur with bluffing? And I said, bluffing burns bridges, boldness builds brotherhood. If my story was streamed, would it pulse with purpose or plummet with pretense? Because we know that pretense sinks, but purpose soars. If my day was a draft, would it glow with grit or grind to gimmicks? If my week went viral, would it echo with effort or evaporate with excuses? We know that excuses vanish, but effort echoes. Finally, if my life was a lyric, Kevin, would it ring with resilience or rot in regret? Because we know that regret rusts, but resilience resurrects. Good morning. It's Sunday.
All right, all right. If I can snap my fingers and you can hear that. Yeah. D, I'm going to tell you, I'm just sitting here thinking, I don't know to our listeners if you remember a young revolutionary, his brother Gil Scott Heron. I'm looking at and listening to Mr. D'Angelo, and I'm going, this is Mr. Gil Scott Heron showing up after he got a haircut on our show. Okay. D, I don't know if you know who Gil Scott is, but he was the first voice to talk about the things that were going on, and he put it to music. He was probably what I would consider the original rapper. I don't know if you guys remember, but that was deep, young man. That was deep. You know, you didn't expect such a teenager to say something so deep, do you, ladies and gentlemen? Look at the young brother. All right. He's doing the same thing I did when I was 27. I used to dye the sides of my sideburns gray so people think I'm an adult. All right. We're gonna let D sit at the grown-ups table today. Look at him, good looking, all muscled up and whatever, and deep today. Thank you for that share. Thank you. Um, I don't even want to follow that, Gilda, but now I know Gilda's about to put it on us now. Gilda, I'm going to ask Otis, the voice of our show, to deliver the quote one more time. And
Certainly.
we're going to see how Gilda interprets this.
If someone shadowed you for one day, 1 week, would your actions scream commitment? Would they expose your fake ambition disguised as procrastination?
All right, Gilda.
Grand rising, everyone. Boy, this was a good one. Me and Chris went over back and forth on this one. And what I came up with, do your actions show commitment or delay? That's what I come up with.
You're exactly right. You know, in my office, I have a pillow that says procrastination is the first door that opens to mediocrity. And your actions either expose or delay the conversation that you have. And at the end of the day, we are who we are as we show up. And Gilda, thank you for that share. Something happened with our technology. We lost Dr. Breakthrough. So I'm sorry that you guys are going to miss that, but just remember what Gilda, Chris, and Angelo has shared with you and make notes. But nothing's going to come across more clear than a share from the voice of our show. And you know, when we get to that moment that we got Otis, you know, we're kind of wrapping up on this Sunday. So tomorrow's a holiday. I hope we celebrate it and we're productive. And this quote carries you through the rest of the week, the rest of the year, the rest of your life. So Otis, if you don't mind, one more time with the quote and give us your interpretation or perspective on this quote.
If someone shadowed you for one day, 1 week, would your actions scream commitment? Or would they expose your fake ambition disguised as procrastination? I just look at myself going all the way back to my high school days, when you have a dream and a desire to do something, and mine was to be an actor. Before I finished my freshman year in high school, I said, this is what I want to do. And I'm still doing it today. Worked a full-time job, worked my way around the hours that I had to work to pursue my career. There's going to be times where you're going to be asked to do something, then you might procrastinate because of something you may not want to do, but yet you have to find that desire and that will to make it work, to not procrastinate and make an achievement. And that's how it landed on me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had as much fun as I did on this show. And, you know, I opened up and said where this quote came from. It's in a verse of one of the songs. But when I break down what this quote means, it means consistency. And Gilda said that follows your daily actions, reveals whether a person is truly committed to their goals or simply engaging in the facade of their ambitions. It challenges you to consider if your habits align with the dream that you profess that you have. The question I asked myself, if someone was watching me, would they see a pattern of procrastination or busy work that would just keep me doing important things or difficult tasks? This is where the talk meets the walk, where one talks about their goals, but finds excuses to avoid doing the real work. This quote is a test of integrity of self-awareness, asking you to be honest with yourself, while it also makes it easy for you to plan, to talk about your goals, and truly measure the level of your commitment of what you are planning to do or what you're going to do while someone is watching you. And believe it or not, every single day, someone is watching you. And without saying, they're holding you accountable to it. So at the end of the day, if you are waiting for someone to rescue you, that person is never coming. And the reason why, the only person that can save you is you. I want you to remember that. And you know something, I can't end the show without getting Dr. Breakthrough's interpretation on this quote. So we're going to do a little spin. So we're going to let Dr. Breakthrough give his interpretation and close out the show. I mean, I know after D'Angelo, uh-oh, uh-oh, the heat is up. The fire's up. All right. This is the cold wind blowing, but our room is warm. Dr. Breakthrough, how's this quote land on you?
Hey, breakthrough Sunday, capital S, capital N day, morning blessings, each and every one of you. So it's been said, I'd rather see a lesson than hear one any day. I'd rather one should walk with me than merely point the way. The eye's a better pupil, more willing than the ear. Find counsel is confusing, but examples always clear. And the best of all the teachers are the ones who live their creeds, for to see the good in action is what everybody needs. For I may misunderstand you in the good advice you give. There's no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. So when people shadow us, what will they see? Because somebody said you're writing a gospel a page each day by the things that you do and the words that you say. Men, read what you write, whether faithless or true. Say, what is the gospel according to you? Because God has no hands but our hands to do his work today. He has no feet but our feet to lead men in his way. He has no tongue but our tongue to tell men how Christ died. He has no help but our help to lead men to his side. We are the only Bible this careless world will read. We're the sinner's gospel. We're the scoffer's creed. We're the Lord's last message, written in deed and word. Say, what if the print is crooked? And what if the type is blurred? What if our hands are busy with other works than his? And what if our feet are walking where sin's allurement is? And what if our lips are speaking of things Christ's lips would spurn? Say, how can we hope to aid him and hasten his return? And so I always tell people, your walk talks and your talk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks. And your walk speaks so loud, I can't hear a word you say. And so when people shadow us, it's either going to expose us or exalt us. If we've been working on integrity, if we've been working on discipline, if we've been working, by the way, also on transparency, right? Because there are times when each and every one of us don't always match up and meet up to what we want and what we expect. But the key is, do we just keep getting back up? Do we make the apology? And more importantly than the apology, we make the correction and keep on going. And that's what we want in our lives. And so I think what this quote is also, when it talks about procrastination, procrastination, the last part of that word nation, usually when I do my martial arts demonstration, I write on the board, procrasta space and then nation. The largest nation of failures in the world are those who procrastinate. Procrastination leads to devastation. Procrastination is the assassination of your destination. Thus, you must act now. And so many people say to me, oh man, you get things done so fast. Well, part of the reason why is if I don't get it done now, it won't get done because I know me, right? And I'm more of a spontaneous type person. And my wife, of course, is super scheduled, so we work well together. Together, we're scheduled spontaneity. And so, so when people shadow us, and I close with this, had a guy give me a compliment the other day, something about a book, and I'd mentioned, I was like, yeah, my wife, we just had a little argument. And he's like, Dr. Breakthrough, and you just saying that? I'm like, well, of course, what do you mean? Well, we did. I mean, it is what it is. Oh, by the way, one guy said there's only two ways to argue with a woman, and both ways won't get you anywhere. I said, well, the best
You came close to
the
being.
best thing to learn to do is to argue for her thing. But anyway, but I said that to say, I mean, look, don't condemn yourself. All of us none of us is everything that we ought to be every single time. But I think what this quote is challenging us to do is to make sure that we're shoring up, that we're disciplining ourselves and making sure that our walk not just matches our talk, but I like for my walk to exceed my talk. And therein, my friend, is how that quote landed on me. And now I throw it back on you.
All right. Believe it or not, we are all pieces of that 1,000 pieces of the puzzle. You know how you put them all together, and that one piece is always missing. Believe it or not, no matter how hard you search for that one piece, it could be in between the couch, it could be behind the pillow, it could be on the floor, the dog had chewed it, but believe it or not, the one missing piece to that puzzle is you. So with that said, I want to thank my co-hosts, Gilda and Christopher, Dr. Breakthrough, young brother D'Angelo. I hope you don't didn't mind me teasing you about your good looks and your youthful appearance and your deep conversation and comparing you to the greatest, original rapper, Gil Scott Heron. Look him up, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know it, and listen to what he's saying, because he has some things that said that in the past that are relevant to our present situation. And I want to thank each and every Sunday to my brother Otis, the voice of our show. Without that, this would be just, no harmony. It would just be a solo. And I'm glad that we've got the temptations together every Sunday in order to do this show. My grandfather always said, when you get to a point in life that you can help someone else, he said it's your duty to do so. He said, with that said, he said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, we say what?
Fade to black.
And make sure you come back.
That's right.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.